Guys, we're back, and today's hair hack will be how to sew a lace closure across the front without the thread showing. The typical way is to glue the lace closure down, but versatility is always best. This method pretty much is better for your edges. It does hurt more, but the hurt doesn't last that long, and it's better for your edges, I promise you. Usually I'll use a white or tan thread, usually the clothing thread, and not weaving thread for this method. But for the sake of clarity and showing you all what I'm doing in this video, I'm just going to use the standard black weaving thread. So stay tuned, and I hope you all enjoy. Okay, so key point number one, you want to make sure that you're stitching extremely close to your stitch. When you start in one hole, you want to make sure that you are going into the exact next hole to it. So if you have to use a magnifying glass to get that done, then you have to do what you have to do. And you also want to make sure you're doing a zigzag motion up and down. That's important too. You don't want to create a straight line going straight across, because even if you can't see the thread, you will see the indent. You want to start inward and work your way outward. So you will start closest to the part underneath the closure, not on top of the closure. So you'll see me lift up the hairs to make sure I'm staying on top of my braid. But that is so that you can keep your stitching together and make sure that you're always aligned with your braid and on top of your braid. That's very important. And the zigzag is also very important. Like I said, don't forget that. If you are going to use the weaving thread, the black thread, if you can look closely in the video, I singled my thread for this. You don't want to double your thread for this. You want to single your thread for this, because when you single the thread, it's more likely to disappear. It's not as thin as clove thread that I mentioned earlier. It's thicker, so you want to single the thread. And then all you do is work your way outward. And once you get back to the main track at the edge of your closure, you will pull it through there as tight as you can, securing it, and then at which point you should be able to take it from there. And then the rest of the way, you will just customize it the same way you would do if you had glued it down. You will cut off the excess lace, keeping what makes it look natural. I promise you'll be able to decide what would be the best thing to do after you complete the stitching. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And before I just send you off, I do want to say there are some notable differences between sewing the closure down and gluing the closure down. When you sew the closure down, you need to understand that it is a different method. It will not look the same as the glue. It will not behave the same as the glue. That's okay. That's okay, because it's a different method, but it still gets the job done. I want to say one of the key differences is that you don't get to customize a lot of the baby hairs the same. And if you are explaining it to your client after you've gotten it and perfected it, you can just let them know that the differences in the looks is that the glued is also flatter, but the sewn is still flat, but it's not as flat as the glue. And that it's more of like a illusion thing that you are creating rather than just melting it into the scalp. It's a whole different process. It's a whole different ball game. You as the stylist, you'll be able to determine how you want to finesse it, but just remember that it's not the exact same process as the glue. It's a little bit more different, which will require a different kind of maintenance, and that's okay, but it's also easier. So I hope that you get this. I know you will. Try it, apply it, do it right, and I will talk to you all next time.